A chair for my mother. My mother works as a waitress in the blue tile diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss just find out give me a job too. I wash the salad and the peppers and fill the ketchup. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finished, just fine said, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time that I put half of my money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar my mama empties all her charge from tips out of her purse for my to the count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I counted the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of time. Some days she has only a little. Then she looked worried, but every evening every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count those tips. Unusually, the grandmother sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old letter only for us. Whenever she gets a good brain on the tomatoes or the bananas or the something she buys, she puts by the saving and they go into the jar. When we can't get a single the other coins into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, the fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in the velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned, so did our sofa, and so did everything else that wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at every tulips. She was saying that she liked the red tulip, and I was saying I liked the yellow one. Then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see the lots of smoke total orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My aunt and Dad waved and shouted, She's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, so it It took a while to find her, but everything else in our whole house was spoiled. What was left out of the house was turned into the chocolate and ash. We went to stay with my mother, sister, and Dad and Uncle Sandy. When we were able to move into the apartment downstairs, we painted the walls yellow, the floors were all shiny, while the rooms were very empty. The first day that we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they bought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, and made us a red and white curtain. Mama both just pine brought pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought me our own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can't start all over. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When the mama comes home, her face hurts. There is no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says, when the grandmother wants to sit back and hunt and cut up the potatoes. She has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how the comes Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the dinner, and all the holes started to go out into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me all the credit. He had to bust me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandpa and I stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it is food, Mama said. My mother brought home the little paper rolls for the nickel and the dimes and the quarter. I count them all out and wrote them all up. On my Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for a $10 bill. When we took the bus downtown, a shovel for our chair. We shoved through for the front chair, a future store. We tried out the big chairs and the smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and hard ones. Grandmother said felt like Goldilocks in the 3 bears. I tried out all the chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came tied down in their pickup trucks to drive the chair to come home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out our chairs in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried out to the door. We sat the chair right beside the window, the wild with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it wild, and Ida looked at our picture. Now the grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news of TV. When she comes home from her job, after supper, I stayed with her and she can't reach right out and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. The end.